What got me shop came back once again. Shot title this video. Hajime Ippo round 1510 came out today, and it's been about, well, the website claims it's been about 20 days since the last chapter. Apparently it's been on break. It's like a 2-week break, and there's break during the holidays, and so on and so on. So that's what's been happening. Haven't really came up with any other videos to upload. Just been working on the same old comic book. I don't know, sometimes you hit the glass ceiling so many times. You start to forget. And sometimes you do it so much into the abyss, you forget why you're doing it at all. But all you can do is just keep on going, because what else is there? It is what it is. But for a quick recap, Sendo went out into a mission proclaiming that he was gonna unify. And he told his corner once again, I ain't lost yet, and that's more or less been it. Ricardo Martinez says it's best not to wait, and that's more or less it. Recap. Let's get into this. Get right into it. The announcer said, "The heck is he doing? What's the plan here?" It's like he's saying, "Hit me, hit me." And both arms spread out. Sendo threatened the champion. It's round 4 starting with a counterattack. Round 15-10, standing tall. And the crowd's like, "No, that's not it. That Dumbo is planning something. Show us, Sendo." As Sendo arms reaches out. And it reaches out further. And he's really looking like that style he did against Miata in sparring, doing the beat down to her. Really stretched out. And announcer says, "This is just what? What are we seeing?" Dante says, "This isn't anything you see in a world title match. It's like he's throwing everything out the window. From here on out, it's Sendo style." And Ippo's like, "It may be strange, but he fight like this quite often, looking down at his opponent and applying pressure. Now looking down over his opponent and applying pressure." And Miata says, "This is a situation you can afford to be looking down on." And someone says, that's true, but he definitely has an idea." Alright, Miata. And Miata's like, what the hell? What the hell? What idea? In Sendo's mind, he says, "When I pushed him just then, it made me think that Makanuchi was stronger. And if it was Wakamushi down here, he'll find a way. And that's pissed me off. No, it made my blood boil. There's no way I ever lose to anyone in a brawl. The first time I lost, it was to a man who well, the first time I lost, it was to a man who never picked a fight with nobody. A man who only knew boxing. And now standing in my way is boxing incarnate. I get it. If I want to unify with these knuckles, I gotta brawl with boxing itself. I gotta beat it into submission. Bring it on, boxing." Well, this artwork of Sendo is looking a little strange, looking weird. Ricardo's calm and composed. Ippo's intrigued. Miata's unfazed. Dante and Takamura's paying attention. Sendo's coach and Bill Stewart is paying attention. And we hear this. I give it this page is nice. And Sendo says, "I'm gonna beat you black and blue." And that's it. I already knew it was gonna be 7 pages, because on the Reddit I was waiting and looking for the chapter, and someone claimed spoiler. I was like, what could it be? They said like 7 chapters, 7 pages. I knew about that. They claim nothing happened. We get more into Sendo's mentality, but what I think about the chapter, it's alright if there wasn't such a time in between. I'm not even dissatisfied. I'm not upset, but it's just, if this would have came out like 2 weeks ago, and then he just, I don't know, if there was like a consistent schedule that we already knew of, then it would be. But there's a schedule posted on the Reddit. There will be a chapter this week, no chapter next week, and a chapter that following week. So that's the chapter. Overall, I'm alright. It seemed like Sendo is really going for that thing he was doing sparring. Miata doing a beat down to her. And Ippo said looking down on his opponents and applying. Now, I had to do a lot of research for that tier list video. He's looked down on who? Now he's underestimated Shigeru, but that was different. Like he hyped up Ippo to the extreme twice. It's like, is anybody he look down on? Like when he did like the whole open guard thing to Jose Nargo, that wasn't looking down on him. That was just saying that the man got a broken spirit. Like, then like Gonzalez, it's just like what like I know this for a fact. I did like a lot of research. Like Sendo don't really look down on people. And the only reason he did it against Jose Nargo, because he believed he had a broken spirit, that he was already broken. So broken spirit fists ain't gonna harm me. So like who was you looking down on? Well, then you got Miyata, sir, buddy, Miyata. How do you clearly not recognize what he's doing right now? And you're the one who compared your jab and your style similar to Ricardo Martinez, even though you're a counterpuncher. And Ricardo Martinez is more of a refined hybrid boxer, closer than Gonzalez, but more of a ruthless slugger when he wants to. A refined boxing slugger. It's like, how do you not recognize this? And then, well, you must be throwing everything outside the window. Really, Dante? You don't really do this in world title matches. I don't know. Depending on the boxer, boxers do put their hands down a lot. Does that mean they throwing everything out the window? Does it mean they plan on losing? Or maybe they plan on going by instincts and experience to be able to weave and do head slips. Dante, you too old to be this slow. You got too many years in boxing to be this dumb. No major comment from the great Takamura from Mick Moore. Out of everybody, it's just like, Ippo, what are you talking about? Miyata, why are you dumb? And it's just, Dante just, like, at this point, why are you even here? Giving no proper insight. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with this guy? And then the person who's been in more title fights than Dante, man, I gotta double check this. Maybe I'm going crazy. How is Takamura barely got any like lineage to this? This is the same Takamura who spent several rounds against David Eagle, throwing overwhelmingly high pressure shots against for 7 rounds, and he got nothing to say about this. Matter of fact, now I think about it, this does kind of remind me of the David Eagle thing. How David Eagle was that 1-2 classic textbooks boxer, and Takamura kept throwing out very heavy, overflowing shots towards him. Yeah, especially during the early rounds, and he kept trying to land that punch on him over and over again. And that was that? Yeah. The beater uppercut came after this point. It wasn't with David Eagle. It was later on. But yeah, it does remind me of that. So for Dante to sit here and say you don't do this in world title matches. Well, did you not see Takamura fight David Eagle? This is pretty much, now I think about it, a very similar matchup, since Ricardo Martinez is a supercomputer. He's this thinking machine. He's a slow starter. Very textbook. I come on, believe that. Come on, stop it. No textbook normal fighter get super excited over Death God Gonzalez versus Sendo. Stop it. It'll be a chess match like Ward versus Mike Elliott, pushing their brain to the maximum. What Ricardo Martinez wants is a perfect fight. The perfect combination of boxing and savagery, technique and outright caveman savagery. The perfect balance. The perfect combination. So it's just, so we got 3 idiots. Ippo, should be ashamed of yourself. Miyata, look, Ippo might be a good second. Miyata, never. He could probably train his son. You could never train somebody else. Never. Now, I just realized it. He's just like his dad. Got that same fucking mentality. Now think about it. With this depression he been in, just like, that just not remind you of Miyata Sr. after he got his jaw broken and his woman left him, and he was just a drunkard, being mad and upset all the time, and trying to and smack Ichiro for trying to do boxing. Yeah, we don't know much about the Marcanucci father, but Dante, with how much experience you got, This is why you got whooped by Ricardo Martinez. Should be ashamed. And then we got an actual current world champion, a multi-world champion, multi-title defending, multi-weight class champion, who have no comment on what Sendo's doing. None. Are you gonna ever follow up when Takamura did Sendo into the ring while he was still human? Has he changed? Have you noticed something different? Are you gonna get any insight, Takamura? And then when Sendo comments, I'm fighting boxing himself, and Ippo is a man who fought with only boxing. I'm 50-50. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's just, that's not what Ippo and Sendo was about. It wasn't about Sendo versus boxing. It was about fighting a man that Sendo could see is stronger than him. He wanted to fight the strongest fish in Japan. And he found him in Ippo Makunouchi. His backstory don't mean shit. It never mattered to Ippo. No, it never mattered to Sendo. It never meant anything. So just this whole fighting boxing, I can see what he's getting at. I can see the mentality of it, but it's just that's not what those two fights was about. Especially not the build up to the first one. So it's just, I can see how a person can look back on hindsight that Ippo is a more overall refined boxer, but I can't say purely that it's just technique and boxing is the reason why you lost against Ippo. So that's why I'm 50-50 on it. It's nothing horrible, but it's just, we gotta see where George go with this. And the decoration of Sendo saying, I'm gonna beat boxing black and blue, I don't know what he means by this, because it's not like Sendo is a brain dead meathead. He does have technique. He does have finesse. He does have his own skill, but in his own way that fits his style. So unless George is doing some major retconning here, or just simplifying things down for the way Sendo see it himself and the story wise, just, I don't see what the guy's talking about. Like, do we need to recap the first and second Ippo fight? The pressure, the feints, the ruthlessness, the savagery, the lower stances, the ruthless pressure, the blocking, the cross arm guard, like all these different elements that he used. Is he as technically sound as Vorg? No, he is not. But he does have just enough where anybody average who don't got the similar punching power, who's not a good boxer, would be obliterated. This man was just having a jabbing contest with Ricardo Martinez in round 1. This man was having a jabbing contest, close range with Alfredo Gonzalez. And slipping punches. Just the fact that Ricardo is a better boxer by default, and Def God Gonzalez is a better boxer by default. Now, I can see, that's why I understand, like I say, I'm 50-50. I can see where the angle was coming from, that Sendo is not the most IQ, textbook, refined, skilled type of person. A lot of it's savagery, a lot of it's ruthlessness, but he's not a caveman. He's like a modern human. He's like a street brawler. He's more similar to Takamura than you would expect him to be. Not how I think about it. Now, sure, Takamura can box, he can idly shuffle, he can do all these things, but by default, Takamura is going to box however he want to box. He proved that with David Eagle. He proved that with many other fights. David Eagle, Richard Bison. Like someone like the 1 KO punches in the later rounds, those are just kind of gags or just having a good old time. Proved it against Michael Goat when he was tearing Michael Goat's scalp clean. But it's just like Takamura box however he wants to. He can go high Q if he wants to. He can go low IQ if he wants to. He can box just to box. The last rounds of Takamura versus Brian Hawk proved that. So it's just not exactly the same, but that core spirit is similar. And which is why he noticed when Ippo started to falter in his spirit, and that's when he started saying Ippo was weak. Ippo's mindset and mentality was not the same ever since Miyata could not fight him. It hasn't. Like, I keep telling you guys, this goes back to Miyata. This is Miyata's fault. If he would have just fought Ippo, Ippo would never act like this. Because Ippo never wanted to be world champion. Ippo never wanted to be the best in the world. Only thing Ippo ever wanted to do is wanting to find out what it means to be strong. And now Ippo is retired. He had a full-fledged career, and Ippo does not know what it means to be strong. The girl he used to know from the first chapter since high school told him since he was a 17-year-old boy, Ippo has not changed. So what was the point of the last past 30 years if Ippo the exact same person? But Sendo, he's changed to a degree. But Sendo's always had like a stronger mentality, cut from a different cloth, from Ippo. But Ippo, it's not like Ippo don't have the savagery in him, but it's just his mindset changed. It was never. It changed from wanting to impress the coach, which is why he fought Antonio Guevara like a blatant idiot. I'm gonna show the new intro. You could have beat him, Ippo. You could have beat him. Could have beat him. Go on an 8-month break. Just do work. Could have been all right. You know, spend like a lot of time at the gym because of the accumulated damage. He reiterated again. There's no reason he should have lost that fight against Antonio. He caused that stuff himself. Antonio was not that good. But yeah, we gotta see what goes on in the next chapter. See what George flesh out this whole Sendo versus boxing, Black and Blue, and the whole savagery versus technique. Cause sure, he was getting outpointed and outpunched by Jose Nargo, but it's just Jose Nargo is an outboxer, natural opposition to a mid-range, a mid-range slugger, not an infighter, a mid-range slugger. So he was always going to have trouble with that. Some of that he had trouble with Shigeru and with Fredo Def God Gonzalez. But what about Sayeki? Sayeki was just fast. He didn't have that high of an IQ. He just got like speed on him. He didn't have the combination of speed and IQ. Which is different. So that's why I always thought, since Misha was obviously the smartest of his generation, that's why I always thought Misha versus Sendo could be an incredible matchup. That's why I always thought Sendo versus Miyata could have been an incredible matchup. Because those are two fighters who are outboxers, but also can infight if they want. Can also get up close to you and dirty if they want. So that's why it's always been interesting. But I think it was reference to Kurosawa about cutting off the ring. Strange to have it showed up, but it's, I don't know. There's a lot of things. Like I said before, a lot of expectations I've been wanting to see with Ippo, and how George can develop the characters. He can do this and that, this and that, this and that. He just hasn't done it, and it's like we're like 30 years in, and it's just like you're gonna bring in these younger guys. You can add in like a new wrinkle, a new extra element, a new extra thing. But we already had like Yamada and Itagaki. Itagaki was never meant to be Ippo's student. Never was. He was always a fanboy who wanted to be Ippo's friend. And the true story of Itagaki is Itagaki in the mind. What happens when you finally get to encounter a role model and one wants to be a student and the other wants to fight him? And it turns out they both in the end wants the exact same thing. They feel what it's like to fight Ippo Makunouchi. So it is what it is. I've got extreme off topic. But yeah, the chapter's only like 7 pages. I like to see how it turns out with everything, but it's just like I said before, we're gonna be in this thing. Like we're gonna get one more chapter. I think that's like on the 28th. Yeah, cause it skips next week on the 28th. So I'm predicting, like this fight may go to like mid-February, to be honest. Depending on what the earliest it could end, it's the first week of February, but more than likely it's gonna be towards like the 28th or the 27th. With the way at the pace we're going and the things we got, because it can easily kick up in the next chapter. George can just be waiting out. The next chapter could be 17 pages. He can get some close range exchanges. But it's just, I'm not really mad, especially since it's close to the holidays. But it's about getting properly informed and getting the information out there and having like a consistent schedule and pages and actually having things happen. Because if this chapter just would have been Ricardo and Sendo fighting, and it just would have cut off randomly, it would have been nice, but it would have been, I would have preferred like a full like 15 pages at least, and we get like a full scope of it and just get to see some like extra stuff. So I don't know, it's a pick and pause type of thing. I know you guys like I'd like to hear you guys thoughts about the video, about the implications with the man from Osaka and Ricardo Martinez. I still got bets on Sendo that he's gonna win, but depending on the fight goes, like I always say, if Sendo put us a good performance and he loses, I wouldn't mind it. But it's all depending on the good performance. If we get to see the layers and the depth of Ricardo, or at least the El Diablo form, be like, yeah. And when I say that, I don't mean for 2 pages. I'm talking about actually seeing Sendo go against this monster close range and try to beat the real deal Ricardo, what he used to be during the early days of his career, to recreate that ruthless fire, this machismo, this desire, this true love for boxing, of why Ricardo enjoying love the sport. So we all gotta wait and see. Uh, like I said before, we've been waiting for this fight for years, years, actual years, years of setup, years of planning. Like, if we don't see something good out of Ricardo, honest, like, well, you gonna pull that shit out of his Ippo? Come on, stop, stop. And it's not the fact that he wouldn't do it. It's not the same with Ippo, because Ippo in the Coach Korigama is gonna break Ricardo down differently than somebody like a Wally, and especially somebody like a Sendo. Like Ippo would like go the textbook route, pinpoint perfect punches, dempsey roll, so on and so on. It would be like things that lead up to it, right? It wouldn't be like the same level of savagery he would get with a Sendo or like with a Wally. It just wouldn't be. It would be more refined, more tame. Sure, it'd be bloody and busted, but it would be more refined. So that's why I just like, why would he? It just wouldn't be the same. And then with Ippo's personality, it'd just be like Death God Gonzalez all over again. How Death God Gonzalez went mixer mode and Ippo was just trying to deal with it. But I did see one thing from the Reddit, in which, I should stay away from that Reddit, and that is a person questioning, well, why is it every fight Ippo gotta get beat up? What would it be like? What's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you people? Like you people, you need help. What's wrong with you? What, Ippo hopes to get a bunch of soft touches in his career? I'm telling you, the only reason they like the Kurosawa fight, because Kurosawa was easy work. Easy work. Really? Soft touches and easy opponents. You don't want to see Ippo struggle. You don't want to see Ippo go against the best or techniques he's never experienced. You want to see him go to just dominate somebody. Well, what are you in this sport for? To be a fan of a man? To be a glorified cheerleader? I just want to see my man win. I don't want to see him get hurt. Man, shut up. This is boxing. This is a combat sport. I want war and I want destruction. Like opposed to feel bad that Ippo getting beat up. You're watching the wrong sport if you're afraid to see your favorite character get their face smashed in. You need help. You're a grown adult talking about why Ippo face beat. It is what it is. Like I said, I stay away from that place for a reason. Stupid people, just dumb. But it is what it is. Baby boys, baby K. I probably went over the time limit. Probably gonna be a 20-minute video. I do it to myself, ladies and gentlemen. But it's been me, WK. Got a lot of thoughts and opinions. What do you believe? Will Sendo master plan work? Will we finally, after 12,000 years, be able to see what Miyata and Sendo is working on? And I'm telling you, this shit started with Mishima. Ever since that Mishima Repcon, when he started to slip back into what he used to be, this man was suspended twice. Why? Why? We've already solved that with Shinobu. Why are we going back? And ever since then, it's just slowly but surely. Miyata acting stupid. Ippo just acting kerfuffle. Dante just Dante, get out of here. Get out of here, man. Like, why you this is why you got whooped by Ricardo. And you got Takamura. You got no comments on this? You got nothing to say, Big More? It is what it is. I'm gonna tell you, K, like, comment, subscribe, and know. Peace.